Of NTSB hearings continues right now as they dig into the deadly midair collision that killed 67 people over the Potomac back in January. Now, we've been closely following this hearing all day as they discuss how this tragedy could have been avoided. Joining us now is Dr. Alan Deal, a former NTSB investigator and FAA official. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Deal. I know you've been involved in hearings like this, sadly, many times in your career. And we'll get to some of these things. Now, we know the NTSB doesn't assign blame in these hearings, so let's start with just a level set. What is the purpose of these hearings?
Well, first and foremost, it's fact-finding, and we've got a lot of critical witnesses testifying under oath. And secondly, it's to inform the press and the public and the Congress what's going on. It's a progress report.
We were just talking in the break about sort of what stood out to you, and really these inaccuracies in the altimeter in the Black Hawk helicopter really stood out to you. You called it shocking.
Exactly. When you have a hard ceiling of 200 feet and you've got altimeters that can be off by 100 or 130 feet, these are the barometric altimeters, their primary reference. That is shocking and unacceptable.
Since this crash, we've learned that there have been more than 80 near misses in this airspace over just the past 3 years. How alarming is that to you?
Well, of course, it's alarming. When I worked for the FAA, later after I left the NTSB, I was a co-pilot on FAA aircraft flying in and out of that airport. And it's a delicate dance. Everybody's got to be on their game. And on this particular night, we know there was communications problems between the controllers and the helicopter primarily, and probably some misinterpretation on the part of at least one of the helicopter crew members when he said, "I have the traffic in sight and I want to visual. I want to go visual," meaning he's going to steer around the landing jetliner.
It is just so tragic because we know what the outcome was as a result of all of this. I wonder for you, what changes do you hope come out of this investigation to prevent another tragedy? And I'm reminded that whenever these hearings occur, they occur because of the loss of life. And so there are 67 souls who have paid the ultimate price because of what happened here.
Well, we like to think in the air safety investigator career field that we learn from these mistakes, and the regs and the procedures are written in blood. So some of the fixes are already out there. For example, they've stopped using the infamous helicopter route 4, which is where the collision occurred. So they've denied or actually reduced the number of aircraft arrivals at National Airport. Everybody wants to fly in and out of National, especially elected officials and VIPs in government, as well as lobbyists and everybody that lives in Washington loves to use National. But it's an unacceptable risk. And like I said, it's a delicate dance that everybody has to be on their game. The margin for error is just not there. And so I think we're going to see some major changes. And of course, the whole business of looking at the national airspace system, the air traffic control equipment, which is outdated, and the workload of controllers, all of this accident tragically has brought that information to the fore. I think you'll see NTSB recommendations and the FAA, Department of Transportation, respond to those affirmatively.
Yeah, you were talking about this tragedy as we wrap up here. I think one of the major things we see right now is all of these ground stops happening pretty consistently for volume and congestion at Reagan National Airport. That is not something we'd seen in mass before this unfortunate tragedy. I know we're out of time, Dr. Deal, and I hope we can talk again soon. And I certainly appreciate your insights and your reflections today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz.